Hello guys, today we are going to get into the topic computer architecture. In computer architecture, the things that we're going to learn is all about designing the system. We are going to get into computer architecture. Before we learn it, let me tell you that this computer architecture is all about designing the system. When we talk about the computer architecture, you should never think from the perspective of an end user. You're not a programmer. Rather, you're not an end user. You're simply not using the system. Here, we are designing the system rather. When we design the system, in what way we need to think? In such a way, we need to think, and then we'll be able to design and develop one substantial systems which is going to be utilized to its fullest extent that is desired. Okay, then now we see how the system will be designed. Now, before we start the design of this system, we need to understand why we are designing a system. The thing what we are designing is serving for which purpose, is used for which purpose. We need to understand that. So as we design a system, computer, okay, computer system, you need to understand this. This computer system that we are designing is essentially a program execution unit. A program execution unit. Okay, so what do you mean by this program execution? That is, when you use the computer system, you might be going through several things. That is, you might be using a notepad to type something. Rather, you are giving a PowerPoint presentation. Rather, you're watching a movie or playing a game or running a system scan. Rather, you're executing a Java program or C program or anything. Whatever I stated right now will eventually get translated to a program. And finally, this program, as it is getting executed, you will be able to get the desired results in the form of output. So thereby you're going to feel whatever you are expecting out of the computer system. So this computer system is eventually is going to design, is going to execute a program. So we should be able to design a system which will execute the programs, as simple as it. Okay. Now, when you want to design a system, first of all, we must understand what is a program, right? As I already told you, everything is a program. That is, either you move a mouse, watch a movie, play a game, run a system scan, everything is just nothing but a program, isn't it? So, when the program is being discussed, you need to understand the history, a brief history of a program. A brief history of we discuss about the brief history of a program, then we'll come into the current scenario, how it has been transformed. Okay, let us take the history of a program. Okay, in the earlier days of 1940s, in 1940s, if you are a programmer, you need to write the programs on punched cards. Okay, what is a punched card? A punched card is a cardboard on which a pattern of hole should be made by the programmer. A pattern is going to reflect an instruction. If you do have 100 instructions in your program, you need to collect a lot of punched cards on which some pattern of holes needed to be made. And finally, this program, which is a bunch of punched cards, should be submitted to an operator. Okay, this operator who is going to operate the computer system knows the exact operation of the computer system. Now, earlier days, if you can clearly see here, the programmer and operator are completely different, because this computer system, the operation cannot be known by the programmer, because this computer system used to occupy a whole lot of space. That is anywhere in between a small room to a big hall. That depends on the size and the capacity of a system. So when you write a program on a punched card, this punched card must be submitted to the operator. Operator will feed these cards to the system. Thereby system will be able to execute the program if there is no error in this program. And once after the execution is done, this execution will be showcased on a terminal. Execution, the program output will be showcased on a terminal, such as screen. Okay, and it will be present on the screen for only a stipulated time. Meanwhile, this programmer should be able to read the output and record the output, because after some stipulated time, this will get erased from the screen. Okay, why, how, we discuss after a short while, but this is a scenario in the earliest days of a computing. Programmer can never write the programs directly by using either a keyboard or a mouse, because those tools were not available at that time. He need to take puncher cards. He should make the pattern of holes, after which he will submit this to operator. Operator will feed them to the machine. After machine executes, if there is no error, then the output will get displayed on the screen. Meanwhile, he'll be able to record the output. The programmer should be able to record the output on the, which is available on the screen. Okay, now here, the thing is, when you talk about this program execution paradigm, when you talk about this scenario of this program execution, if there is an error in the program, that specific card which has an error will be retrieved out. That means that the programmer did wrongly make the pattern of holes. Okay, so he has to correct this card, and he will take this card out, and he's going to obtain one more card. On that card, the correct pattern of holes will be made, and finally, this bunch of puncher cards will be fed to the system again to get the desired output. You can clearly understand how difficult it is and how tiresome it is for both a programmer and an operator. Because at that time, you can clearly see there is no form of memory on which the programs can actually be stored. There is no form of memory at all. Everything is very physical. That is, puncher card is a physical thing on which the programmer has to write the programs. And then operator has to collect these programs, and he needed to feed these programs which are on a puncher card to the system. Everything is a tiresome process, isn't it? So till 1960s it went on. Okay, but in 1960s there was something called von Neumann architecture. Von Neumann architecture has been invented. Okay, so once after the von Neumann architecture has been invented, the life of the programmer had become really simple. That is simply because in von Neumann architecture, they're invented a memory. The memory has been invented. What do you mean by this memory? This memory is going to be connected to the CPU to provide a better execution scenario. That is, better provision for execution of the programs. That is, when you want to execute a program, that program simply that you need to do is you need to write the program by using some provisions such as keyboard or some peripheral devices, after which if you are able to save this program in the memory, then you are all set to execute this program. That's it. No puncher card business, nothing. Only fundamental rule in the von Neumann architecture is a program must be stored in the main memory before it gets executed by the CPU. Okay, so we have to understand the concept of the memory before we design anything, because computer system is all about executing the programs, but the storage provision for storing these programs is simply the main memory, rather the physical memory or whatever you call. The programs must be residing within the main memory. Thereby, these programs will be accessed by the CPU to execute. So we need to understand the basic organization of the memory before we get into the details of the design of the CPU. We'll do it later, but try to understand the several things that are associated to the von Neumann architecture. This von Neumann architecture can also be called as SPO, Stored Program Organization. What is a stored program organization? I already told you that a program has to be loaded within the main memory, has to be stored in the main memory before it gets executed. Unless or otherwise, you can't execute the program at all. If you can't store the program in the main memory, you can't execute the program. If you want to execute the program, that program must be loaded within the main memory. That program must be stored within the main memory. This is the fundamental rule which is a prerequisite for the von Neumann architecture. Hence, it is also called a stored program organization. Now, let us talk something more about a program. Okay, as you people know that a program is a set of instructions, right? A program is a collection of instructions. A program is a collection of instructions. Okay, and if you want to execute a program, all the instructions within the program should be executed one after another. The fundamental rule of executing the program is each and every instruction which is available in a program must be executed. Okay, that is that which makes up a program. Okay, after having said this, we also need to understand that there are several programming languages which are called high level languages to provide a tool for the high level language developers. High level languages. High level languages are C, C++, Java, or whatever, okay, etc. Now, if you're a programmer, you should render one of these programming languages, thereby the logic can be implemented, after which when you store the program and when you try to execute this, these programs which are written in the high level languages will get translated to the machine language. Okay, here throughout our computer architecture topic, we are going to discuss about this machine language instructions, rather machine language programs. Okay, when we get into the deeper, you're going to understand completely the gist, rather the glimpse of the machine language to the fullest extent that is actually desired. Initially, we're going to get a glimpse of the machine language. Finally, when we are going deeper and deeper, you'll be able to understand how the programs are going to be written, how the programs are going to be executed, how the programs are going to be converted from the high level language to the low level language during the entire course of the computer architecture. Okay, so what are needed to be designed? So we understood about a computer architecture. So first, initially, before you start understanding about the design of the computer system, first of all, you should understand what is the system serving for. The system is essentially a program execution unit. First of all, if you want to understand this, what's the program? We took a history of the program, how it was written in the 1940s, and then we differentiated between 1940s to 1960s, in which von Neumann architecture had been invented. This von Neumann architecture is based on something called stored program organization, provided some means of memory to store the program. If you want to execute a program, that program must be stored within the main memory to execute it. Okay, this is called a stored program organization. So having discussed this, now when we start designing a system, what is needed to be designed initially? You know that when we start designing the system, we should start the system design right from the CPU itself, because this CPU is the core, rather the heart of the computer system. The CPU is either a core or the considered to be a heart of the computer system. Okay, now in CPU, again, directly CPU cannot be designed at a stretch. There are several components are available within the CPU. We need to identify those components, and usage of each and every component needed to be understood. Those components or entities are as follows. The first one is the register set that is needed to be designed. Followed by, there is something called a control unit, and followed by ALU. Okay, we try to understand the purpose of these entities which are available within the CPU. The register set, at the basic level, if you can understand, the register set is going to provide you the basic storage provision to store the instructions within the CPU. That is, when you execute a program, the program is a collection of instructions. When this instruction gets executed, these instructions must be made available within the CPU for execution. So we design the register set to hold the instruction to execute within the CPU. So that is what a register set is all about. We get into more details when we start designing this register set. This control unit, when it comes to the control unit, the total functionality, the total activities of the computer system must be controlled and synchronized in a proper way, which means that a control unit is going to synchronize all the activities to a clock. You know that computer system will be supported by a system clock. Let us consider this is a clock. Okay. All the activities should be controlled by a master clock, rather should be tied up to a master clock. Okay. And this clock is going to give you the clock pulses. During every clock pulse, there has to be a stipulated operation. There has to be a specific operation needed to be done. So this control unit is eventually going to synchronize all the activities of the system, which are taking the help of a clock of the system. We go as we go more deeper, you're going to understand more about the control unit. Initially, at this point of period, you need to understand this control unit is going to synchronize. I'll write it here. This control unit is going to synchronize all the activities of the system. Okay, so that is it. When it comes to the ALU, you know that ALU is going to perform the execution of the instruction. What is execution? ALU is going to perform one of the arithmetic or logical operations. So ALU can perform different operations. The first one is arithmetic operation. There are many arithmetic operations. Logical, there are 16 logical operations. And in addition to these arithmetical logical operations, there are some other operations called shift operations. All these operations, one at a time, will be executed, will be carried out by the ALU. Okay, so when we design all these things, we need to understand the purpose of the entities that is getting designed. Okay, so if we can understand that, we can design and implement to the level what we desire. Okay, so in the next class, we'll start with a register set design.